We are
Oh, we're
live.
live.
Yes.
Hey,
Hi.
hello everyone.
Hi,
Hey,
everybody.
I welcome to another pop-up career Q&A. It is Thursday again, so when you see us live, you know it's Thursday, and therefore tomorrow is Friday, and the next day is Saturday, right?
Really?
When you see us pop up, it's good news. I didn't prepare this joke; it literally just came. Uh,
Is it a joke though?
The dad joke.
I try. I'm a dad now. No, a dad joke. Uh, so this where we kind of answer your career questions live. If you have a question, just ask it in the comments below. So this is streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So say hi, by the way, so we can see you.
Yes, say hi to us in the comments.
Yeah, say hi in the comments, and let's do this.
Hi everyone. Yeah, let us know whether you can hear us clearly or not. Are we too soft? Are we too loud? Let us know, right? So I have some very exciting news. So this section of Power Q&A is actually powered by redONE. So we got redONE sponsoring our session, making this happen and accessible for all of our participants to continue to ask us career questions. redONE is Malaysia's first and largest postpaid mobile virtual network operator, and is widely known for its affordable, amazing postpaid plans that start from 8 ringgit a month with up to 60 gig of data. Customers enjoy uninterrupted streaming and unlimited calls with reliable nationwide coverage as it rides on Celcom Axiata's network infrastructure. So learn more about them, visit redone.com.my for more details. There will be a comment down there that you can click through the website to learn more about them. But thank you so much, redONE, for making this happen. For all of our participants, continue asking career questions, right?
Yeah,
With
thank
that-
you very much for sponsoring.
Thank
Awesome
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, some people are saying hi in the comments. There's
Hi,
Michael.
everyone.
Jasmine says she feels like she's at work. This is not work for you.
Yeah, so this is a very casual session. You can have your lunch while you ask us career questions and just answer it, right? Make it very
Yeah.
casual. Grab a cup of coffee. Okay.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Emily. Hello.
Hi, Shakur.
Hello.
Hi, Shakur.
Okay. So let's jump on to the first question, shall we?
Yes.
Right. So the first question is: must I fully fit the job requirement completely before applying to a job? I often find that job ads for senior positions require very broad skills. Most of the time, I find myself only fitting about 30 to 50% of the requirement. Would you still encourage me to continue to apply?
Good question.
Yeah, I think so. On one end, right, if you think about the employer side, obviously, an employer will always say, "Oh, don't spam me," as in like if you're not relevant, don't apply to me. But the reality is, most people that get hired typically don't fit 100% of what they wanted anyway. So sometimes you don't really know until you apply, and it's up to the employer whether they shortlist you for an interview or not. So I think as a general rule, from a job seeker's perspective, as long as you're not really blindly and randomly applying without thinking, as in you have thought through it a little bit, and even though you don't think it's a direct fit, but it's really what you want to do, I think feel free to apply, right? Because you don't know, because when you're applying, right, the main thing to remember is that it is just one step to see whether you can get an interview or not. And even if you apply, they don't have to interview you, and if they do interview you, they don't have to hire you. So it's still a long process, right, from actually getting hired. So I would actually suggest that you should, right, and find out what happens if they do. What's the worst that can happen, right? Like they don't shortlist you, right?
As long as it's like not zero match, then I think it's okay. Like if you have some relevant experience, but maybe like only 50 to like 70% relevant experience, and I think it's still okay. You never know. Maybe the employer will see something in your CV that they didn't mention their requirements, but they think it could add like a new perspective or a different point of view to the job. Then it could actually work as an advantage.
Yeah, I also think that another way for you to prove that you are unique or like to stand out among other candidates, because I mean, if you feel like you're lacking something, you should focus on your transferable skills and all of that. But I think another thing that you can do is also maybe come up with a pre-interview project, like kind of identify, what position you want to go in, what department you want to go in, and kind of identify the problem that the company is facing and maybe propose like a solution during the interview, and that would probably show that you are a unique candidate. You know, you're different from other people, and yeah, you might as well land a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could still wow them, basically,
Yeah.
right? So a CV is based on your past, but if you are shortlisted for an interview, then whatever they believe you can offer them in the future is what will land you the job, basically.
Yeah,
A lot
totally agree.
of some questions coming in, I think.
Yes, we got a
Philip.
lot of people joining us again. Hi everyone, on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So yeah, just so we're clear for those who have missed, I think there's a comment to asking us what kind of questions you can ask here. You can ask us any career-related questions. You know, if you have a bit of dilemma applying for jobs, or currently in a position right now, but you're stuck. You know how to move on to navigate through move up the career ladder. Sure, ask us any career-related question, right?
Yeah,
so,
career-related questions only, right? Yeah, don't ask me why I haven't cut my hair, for example. But anyway, yeah, any question, just ask in the comments, right? And we'll pick it up.
Moving on to Shuko, who asks on LinkedIn, I have HR experience for about 10 years, up until assistant manager post, but now I changed to operations for about 2 years. Now feeling I want to go back to the old position, I assume. How would I approach this? Can I get back to where I was after a few years of hiatus in HR?
HR for 10 years, then ops 2 years, now want to go back to HR. I think you could, but you need to know that you'll be entering probably at the same level of where you left lah.
Yes.
So you're not going to be joining a role that is more senior than your previous HR role, I assume, because of the gap and the switch to ops. So if you do go back to HR, I think it will be at the same level at where you left HR.
Yeah, as long as you can accept that, because we're not sure how much your salary has progressed in the ops role, but it's very likely to kind of reverse back to whatever salary you previously on. Plus, you have to think of it in these terms. Some employers may not see it as an advantage that you move to ops. They might see it as like a disadvantage, because like now you might have forgotten some HR stuff, right? So if you genuinely want to go back to HR, I think the main thing I would say is that, make sure that your expectations on salary is okay. And I think 2 years, by the way, is just the right window to still be able to go back. I think if you wait any longer, it's going to get harder and harder already. I can imagine if someone has left HR for say 5 years and wants to go back, I'll look at it and say, I'm not sure if you're still that relevant anymore. So something to think about, right? Yeah. So you want to switch now? That's what I'm saying. Like, you want to switch, that now's the time. Switch back. Yeah, don't.
2 years is good enough for you to actually have a good reason that you have tried this. It's new. You're not a quitter. Yeah, try something new. Didn't like it. Go back to your main forte.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect timing.
You could even say like you tried something else, then you realize that actually HR is for you. So you're more sure about your interest in HR now after seeing like a different industry, a different field. Yeah.
So the next question we get it at every session. Any tips, fresh graduates? Any quick fire tips for our new viewers here?
General question.
Yeah.
That's a broad question.
Like
quick fire. Okay, I'll start. Right, CV is not enough. Like your CV you cannot just use a template, copy and paste from online. You really got to know how to brand yourself, make it perfect, but it's not enough. You got to do other things like researching the company in depth, like through LinkedIn, through our platform WOBB. Not just reading the About Us section, but actually know what are the contemporary activities of the company.
It's
Next
such
up,
a big
anybody else?
question. It's like it's so difficult to give such.
I would plug our video cover letter right here. Yeah, stand out with a video cover letter. Like what Brian said, a CV is not enough, right? A video cover letter is what you need. Like a quick 30 seconds, a pitch to the employer why they should hire you. And yeah, the quick 30 seconds would probably make you stand out among other hundreds of candidates. Among 100 candidates, probably like only 10 maybe would have a video cover letter. So use that opportunity.
When I look back at when I think back to many years ago when I was a fresh grad, I think now if I was talking to my old self, I would say, you're not special.
That's true.
You're not special. Honestly,
No, you're right. Yeah.
when I was a fresh grad, I thought, hey, I got good grades, I got a good CV. I'm just going to apply for the one I want and I'm going to get it. And I think I applied for one internship and I was like, well, why didn't they call me? I don't understand. Like, I have a really good CV. So I think, you're not special. There's a lot of people like you. A lot of people have like similar CV and similar like experiences as you. So, I think as a fresh grad, you got to keep your options open, and you do need to apply quite a lot and be prepared to be rejected. Be prepared to maybe spend a couple of months searching before you actually find the job that you want, before you actually land it. Yeah.
But don't spam, though. Don't spam apply.
Don't simply spam your CV everywhere, but don't also just like assume that you're going to get it, like the one that you want. Like, you got to keep your options open. Yeah.
I resonate with that though. Like, when people first graduate, it's like, oh, get ready to meet me, world. But then you go out there and there are like a million of you, right? Basically, because you're all entering the market with zero experience, and no matter how good you think your grades are, there's always a lot of people who had better grades, better university, whatever it is, right? So, or they did more internships than you. So keep having that competitive mindset, I think it's where we're coming at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next one, M. Kumaran from LinkedIn asks us, I have a question. I accepted a new role which is not a managerial role, but in my two previous roles, I was designated as a manager. As I'm trying to go back to my to managerial level, I find it quite difficult as a few employers commented that my new role is a senior executive. Please advise.
I think without some details, it's hard to comment. So, for example, you did say that you were a manager before. So I have some questions, as in, how long were you a manager? And why did you leave the manager role for a non-manager role, right? So for example, if you're a manager for a few months and then you moved into a non-manager role, I mean, the employee would look at that and say, well, you haven't done it long enough to really call yourself a manager. And it might be because that you couldn't handle it. I mean, that I'm speaking from the perception of the employer, right? When they're looking at your CV experience, maybe you're not ready for the manager role. That's why you didn't stay long in the manager role, as an example. So I cannot make this comment if we knew the details, but I believe very likely the employer is coming down from that point of view. Like, even though you did it before, but you might not have done it. Maybe you're not that suitable. That's why you ended up not being a manager for a longer time, right? So if you wanted to be a manager, I would suggest, this is a bit hard to hear, like within your current company, isn't there an opportunity to be promoted to a manager rather than trying to interview for a manager in another role? So because you know what I'm trying to say, right? So I think it sounds a bit like you're not a manager now and you're applying to manager jobs, thinking that the employer should hire me as a manager because I was a manager 2 roles ago. But in your current, if you really want to be a manager, the best way to do it is to be promoted into one. That's why I always believe. And employers, more and more of them also can recognize the difference between someone that has progressed through internal promotion and someone that's progressed through changing jobs. And it's very different. Someone that's progressed through internal promotion will always come across as better, I use this phrase, because it was through merit that they were promoted, right? Likelier through merit that you're promoted. Whereas if you are interviewing for a new job, then they'll say like, how come you're not promoted before? Like, is it just because of your interview skills? That's why you keep on getting hired for higher and higher jobs, but you may not necessarily be ready for that role. So I'm just coming down that, employers might think like that.
Yeah, definitely better to be promoted internally than to try and jump rank by going to a new company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Next one. Anis from LinkedIn asks, I'm a fresh graduate. Can I apply for entry level that has a requirement need to have 1 to 2 years of experience?
Entry level, about 1 to 2 years experience. Isn't that like 2 different? I mean, is it entry level? Entry level is
0,
0,
and then 1 to 2 years is 1 to 2 years.
I have seen some employers literally like right at that, maybe like a mix up and they copy and paste job description.
But
But-
if
but
they
I
if
want-
they mention entry level, then I would say it's safe to apply. If the word entry
Mm.
level is in the job and you're a fresh grad, then I think go ahead and apply.
I think just go ahead and apply. You're not going to lose anything at all. Sometimes you might be so exceptional that with your current fresh graduate, what you have as a current fresh graduate now, right? That they'll see like, okay, this person kind of has what we want, although she doesn't have 1 or 2 years of experience. Let's try and call you for an interview.
Sorry, maybe like your internship experience or your extracurricular experience and your grades are good, something like that, then they would be okay to interview you even though you don't have any actual work experience. So
Yeah.
I don't think you lose anything or risk anything by applying.
Yeah, and one thing to know that when the companies advertise, they always list this ideal job description. Sometimes the person that is listed in job description doesn't even exist, or there's one person like that in the entire Malaysia, as an example. So when employers says 1 to 2 years, they're probably thinking, I want a young junior person, maybe got some experience. So they say, let's put in 1 to 2 years. But if when you're applying to jobs, again, your most companies hire someone that's not an exact fit, might be 70% fit, 60% fit, 80%, whatever it is. So you have 0 and you're looking at 1 to 2, I think it's okay. The other direction works the same as well. If you have 3 years of experience, for example, and there's this role that says you're looking for someone 1 to 2 years experience and you really like the role, you can apply also, right? It's not too far from whatever range that they are mentioning. So think in those terms, I think.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Next question.
A lot of questions coming in.
Yeah. I would like to ask, why do you think it's efficient if a company requires to answer questions, but actually they are asking for details that have been provided in the resume before? May I know why do companies do this?
They want to hear you say it, how you tell it. They want to hear how you tell your story.
Here's what happens. Okay, there's a few reasons why this happens, right? So sometimes the hiring manager that interviews you, meaning perhaps the person that will be your manager for your team, wouldn't be the one that shortlisted you for the interview. It might be the HR department that shortlisted you, right? So the HR department looks at all this, your CV, and then the hiring manager, sometimes they just completely trust the HR department that you are a good candidate, and they come in and they want, perhaps, maybe that's not the case, but they want to hear your explanation. They want to talk more about they want to have an open conversation with you about that particular experience. And the worst thing I've seen someone is, being very passively aggressive in answering. As I've mentioned in my CV already.
Yes.
don't do that. Employers sometimes, yes, they might have read your CV, but they're interviewing multiple candidates in a day, and they might cross their wires on what details belong to which candidate. So please forgive them. They are humans. Just have a happy conversation with them without being passively aggressive, hinting that you have indeed listed this before.
Yeah. You should get used to it. Like Brian said, most of the time when you're being interviewed, there's a lot of other candidates that are being interviewed for the same position, which means that the recruiter has seen a lot of CVs. So it's very hard to remember the specific details for each candidate. So that is why they will ask you, and you will have to repeat the stuff that's on your CV.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
it's not
sometimes for
repeating.
go
ahead, Eric.
Go.
I mean, maybe sometimes it's not about repeating exactly what is in your resume. Maybe they want to know more about what's on your resume. I think we always emphasize that a CV or a resume should not go past 2 pages, and whatever the experience that you list down in your CV should be just very concise. But if the employer wants to know more, that's the point of the interview.
Yeah. So kind of echoing what Eleanor said, right? So especially when there are jobs where they get a lot of applications, huge amount of applications, right? Let's say management training programs, you get 500 people, 1,000 people applying to it. The filling up internal forms is actually to help the HR screen faster, so that they don't look through individual CVs. I look at the CV, I shortlist you, and then the next step they'll think, okay, there are these 10 questions that we want to know. Maybe in your CV you answered 7 already. But they're not going to look through one by one and say, they answered 7, why don't I ask them 3? Or this person answered 5, why don't I ask them the other 5? No, they don't. They just I shortlisted this bunch, I'm going to send all you the same form, and you're just going to fill it up, right? So So sometimes you might feel like, oh, how come they're asking me the same things on my CV? But you have to realize the kind of volume that they're going through. They're probably processing it through like some internal, applicant tracking system or something. So, so make sure, by the way, so what Brian also says is true. Make sure you don't do it lazily, thinking that they already have my CV, because actually the next step is they're looking at what you're filling in the form. They're probably not looking at your CV anymore already. So if you have to repeat yourself, just repeat yourself.
Yeah, but the same thing applies like when you're actually physically in interview lah, not just filling out forms.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like they say, they ask you a question that's on your CV. You're not going to tell them, well, it's on my CV. Why don't you look at it? You're not going to say that in the interview, right? It's the same rule. Right?
It's happened to me when I interview someone's like, yeah, I said that on my CV. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay, next one, yeah. Hi, I wanted to ask, why do employer require CGPA 3.0? And how about those who are below? Any tips for those who are below 3 CGPA? Well, not every employer requires you to have 3.0 CGPA. And my immediate thought is, well, I'm not very good at studying myself, right? And I have accepted that academically I'm weak. So my tip for you, and what I have done, is that I really go for quite a lot of like part-time jobs, internships, join clubs and societies to kind of boost up, I'm weak in this, but I can be strong in other parts, the non-academic part. It just does, if you're not good at studying and it doesn't seem like you did anything at all with your other free time, that will look really bad on you. But internships are definitely, I would say, very valuable.
Yeah, plus if you're like, honestly, I don't see that many jobs now having a specific CGPA requirement. But let's say it's like a 3.0 and yours is like 2.9 or something, then I think you're okay. Like you can apply for it and maybe you made up for it in other ways, like Ryan said, like with experience, part-time jobs or internships. And they're not gonna, if you have a really strong CV and you're just like a 2.9, or, unless it's like a company SOP or something, I think you probably make the cut for interview lah.
Yeah, I think again this probably applies to like jobs where there are a lot of job applications, like junior jobs where they don't have a lot to base on. They're screening a lot of CVs at the same time. So companies have traditionally set some kind of line, to automatically screen out people, and that's because they get so many job applications. As you become more experienced, this actually matters like not at all. You just use your experience only. So it's kind of like when you're going for your first job. Admittedly though, some companies that use like technology to screen CVs, like if your CGPA is under 3, like the system might automatically just screen you out, like you won't even appear. So this might happen, unfortunately, but this is just how it works lah. I mean,
this is usually for companies that are very big, right? It's usually the really big companies that have like massive volume of applications that they will have this sort of screening process lah.
Yeah, but the good news for you is there are a couple of big companies recently came out and used that kind of ignored degrees and just use their own assessment to assess you, without looking at your degree classification. More and more big companies are going in that direction because a lot of them recognize there's a lot of inconsistency between grading of universities. So one university might be very easy to get over CGPA 3, another university might be a lot harder to get over CGPA of 3.0. So they're not equal, and they automatically screen out someone who may have been more qualified. So big companies are changing their mindset.
Yeah. But I in echoing to whatever Brian and Shakira say also, internship I think is very, very important actually. If you really find it difficult to land your first full-time job because of this kind of requirements, you should take advantage of internships. And I mean, during the internship, don't go for internships where you make coffee and print stuff lah. For internships that where you can really make an impact in the company and bring that forward to the other interviews that you're going for. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next question.
Next question.
I think we have like 5 more minutes, right? Like we try to squeeze in 2 more questions if we can.
All right. After 6 to 7 years in the creative industry, I've been thinking of changing to other type of jobs despite the lack of experience. With COVID-19 and all, would it be a good time to jump?
Okay. Well, it's kind of like two separate questions in one. Yeah, I think changing careers itself is a difficult thing already, right? I mean, look at it in terms of like a competition in the market, lah. So I think in normal market conditions, even if you want to change to something new, so many question marks I would ask you, right? How experienced is your previous work to whatever thing you want to do next? Will the industry even consider you for it? How much of a pay cut are you willing to take? Like so many questions, right? In normal market conditions. Now, you are going to try to shift to a new career. At the same time, people who are already doing that, a lot of them probably lost their jobs, and they're also competing for these same jobs that you're looking for. As an example, maybe it's not so clear what I'm saying. Say if you're a salesperson and you're a salesperson that says, I want to do marketing, your sales want to do marketing. So normally it's not so easy to change to marketing already. But now in the condition where a lot of marketing people lost their jobs, and they're also looking for a marketing job, just like you. They have marketing experience and you don't, so it's going to be harder, right?
Yeah.
Much harder. So it's not to say you can't do it. Like people win lottery all the time, right? You could buy a lottery ticket, you could win. But we're talking about risk and probability, right? It's going to be so much harder to try to get in right now. But you're welcome to try. Is probably what I would say.
Yeah. My advice would be don't leave if you have a current job. Don't leave until you secure something new, because it's going to be pretty tough. Even if you were like trying to find another job in your industry right now, there's still a lot of competition at the moment because of the because of COVID. So so it's going to be hard enough if you're trying to get a new job in your industry. To get a new job in a new industry is even harder. So I would say if you have a job right now and you have responsibilities that you need to take care of, then I think you should not. At the very least, you should not leave until you secure something new. Yeah.
But if you really want this other new thing, by the way, you could use this time to build up some portfolio or experience about it. Go for courses or whatever it is, right? Or like do like side projects. So when the market is a little bit better, at least you have made use of this time to gain that experience. So it's easier for you to shift.
I see an interesting question. Oh, sorry. I thought we were done.
Larry mentioned skills, so I just wanted to
Yeah, sorry. Go, Eleanor.
You're talking over each other.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of platforms where you can learn the skills, some even for free. You can go on Udemy, you can go on Coursera, there's Skillshare, there's LinkedIn Learning. So you should, if you have the time, you have the capacity, then use this time to learn the skills. And then like what Shakira said, when the market is better, then make your jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're done, right?
We got one more.
Can we squeeze? We got one more question. 2 minutes.
I see a lot of people on LinkedIn posting their success in getting jobs, but it's mostly for the younger generation. Has the market moved towards this hiring approach in an effort to cut costs?
I mean, we can't, I don't have the data to say that right now as WOBB. We can't say for sure. What we can say is WOBB as a portal, obviously, almost all our jobs are for junior market. And even though you can see like the number of hiring has dropped as across Malaysia significantly, it hasn't dropped as significantly on our platform. That means most employers are still hiring for juniors right now. As to whether it is an effort to cut costs, and again, this is just not based on data, just based on my understanding when talking to people, and also just some, I suppose, from previous experience. I imagine it's true. Some companies are thinking of cutting costs. The other would also be, as companies approach digitization, or they're already a digital business. A lot of times, they might want to hire people that are very tech savvy, or they come from they're digital natives, whatever term you want to use. And typically, these are people maybe fresh out of university. So, that's possibly the reason why. But I don't think necessarily that it's just everyone's just hiring young people. But what I'm saying is that on our platform you can see that it is reduced, but not as significantly as most other platforms, as I've observed. So we only do mostly professional young talent, and it's still quite active on WOBB currently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You might be encountering like the vocal minority, fresh graduate,
Yes.
landing the first job in in the real working world. They are really excited. They post about it. That has always been the case even before all this. I always see a lot of fresh graduates. Hey, I land my first job in this company, so excited. And all these posts, yeah, it might just be like I said, the vocal minority sounding up their excitement in the new journey.
Yeah, it's just the impression lah, basically, right? Yeah, like I do see posts like that as well. Oh, I found my dream job, and people are like liking and sharing it. But the more experience you get, the less you shout about changing jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I think that's it. That's 30 minutes. So thank you everyone for being here. Again, we will be up here every Thursday at 12:30. So if you like what we're doing, you hope to see more, give us a thumbs up. Maybe you can share this post with your friends. And yeah, we hope to continue to do this every Thursday. So thanks for being here. If you have any feedback, also you can give in the comments below, and we'll pick it up.
Yep.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining.
And
Wait, I think we're lagging, right? We are lagging. Now I go ahead.
Are we? Am I lagging? Okay, so because there are a lot of questions that I see we have not answered, don't worry about it. Just copy and paste your question onto Offwork. Literally just type wobbjobs.com/offwork and you can paste your questions there. So Offwork is actually a group that we created specifically to give career advices, and you can find a lot of experts from different industries. So you get advices from many different kind of advices. So yeah, sure, go ahead.
OFFWERK, because we're cool like that. So
WERK. Yeah, so we'll be there for another 30 minutes.
We couldn't find the URL for WORK.
No, we wanted to be unique. Don't give it away there.
That's right. We did it on purpose.
So yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining. Again, thank you redONE, because this pop-up career Q&A is powered by redONE. They're offering postpaid plans up to 60 GB from as low as 8 ringgit a month. So visit redone.com.my for more details. All right. Thank you again. Thank you for joining.
See you next week.
You at Offwork.
Bye.